Hello children, today I will continue with direct and indirect speech, and in this today I will be telling you rules related to interrogative sentences, that is questions. While changing direct speech related to questions into indirect speech, there are certain rules to be followed. So today I will be telling you the rules related to the changing of questions. Now the first rule is that the reporting verb is changed to ask, inquire or demand. So in the direct speech the reporting verb will be said, but when you change it into indirect speech you will be using the words ask, inquire or demand. Mostly ask is used. So remember children, the said in the direct speech is changed into asked or inquire in the indirect speech. Now in the example you can see in the direct speech it is, I said to him, who are you? Now here the reporting verb is said. So when you change it into indirect speech, you will remove said and use asked or inquired. So here I have used inquired. So in the indirect speech, the sentence will be, I inquired of him who he was. So remember children, the reporting verb has to be changed. Said will be changed into asked or inquired mostly. Now the second rule is that when the question begins with an interrogative pronoun such as what, who, whom, whose, or with an interrogative adverb such as when, where, why, how, etc., then the same word is used to introduce the indirect speech. That is, it becomes the joining word. So remember children, your question word in this, if the question begins with an interrogative pronoun or with an interrogative adverb, that same word will be now used as the joining word. So, one thing more to remember here children is that you will not use the word that to join. That is used to join assertive sentences or statements, not questions. So don't use the word that to join questions. Like in the example you can see, he said to me, where are you going? So here your question is starting with an interrogative adverb, where. Now when you change it into the indirect speech, the word where now becomes the joining word. The question word becomes the joining word. So in the indirect speech you will write it as, he asked me where I was going. So here you see the reporting verb portion and the reporting speech portion has been joined by the word where. He asked me, then the joining word is there, where, and then the speech part, I was going. So remember children, if your question begins with an interrogative pronoun or an interrogative adverb, that same word will be used to join the reporting verb part and the reporting speech part. Now the third rule children is that when the question begins with is, are, do, has, will, can or any other joining word, or in simply just remember that whenever the question may have yes or no for an answer, then the words if or whether is used to join the reporting verb part and the reporting speech part. So if or whether will be used as a joining word. Like for example, if your question is like this, is your work complete? Or do you like cricket? Or will you come tomorrow? So the answer to these questions will be in either yes or no. So in such questions, remember that you will be using the joining word if or whether. Now in the example you can see, he said to me, can you lend me a pen? So here the question is such that the answer will either be in yes or no. Yes, I can lend, or no, I cannot lend. So in such a case you will be joining, you will be using the joining word if or whether. So in the indirect speech you have used if. He asked me if I could lend him a pen. So said has been changed into asked, and then the joining word if has been used to join the two parts. Then there is another example also. I'll tell you the rule there. In the direct speech is, he said to me, do you know the answer? So here also the answer to this question is either yes or no. And you will be using the joining word if or whether. But remember here children, that if your question begins with do, did or does, then you will remove that word in the indirect speech. So when you write this sentence, this direct speech, when you change this direct speech into indirect speech, you will write it like this. He asked me whether I knew the answer. So here do has been removed. You know the answer, that part has been used after the joining word. So the sentence is, he asked me whether I knew the answer. Then the next is the fourth rule, that is the question form is changed into assertive form. That is, you when you are changing the direct speech into indirect speech, the question is changed into a statement. In the direct speech you are asking a question, but when you change it into the indirect speech, that question will be changed into an assertive form. It will be changed into a statement. So remember here children, when you are changing a question into an assertive, then it means that the subject should be placed before the verb. In the question, the verb comes first and then the subject. That is, the verb plus subject formation is used. But when you change it into the assertive, the subject should come before and then the verb. That is, the subject plus verb formation will be used in the sentence. So, when you are changing the question form into assertive form, that is a verb plus subject form into subject plus verb form, that is why it becomes necessary also to change the reporting verb into ask or inquire, to give an idea that the speech was a question. That is the main reason that you change the word said into ask or inquire, just to show that a question was asked. So in the example you can see, he said to me, what are you doing? So here the question is, your direct speech is a proper question. What are you doing? And here are you. So are is the verb and you is the subject. So the verb plus subject formation has been used in the question. But when you change it into the indirect speech, see how you will be writing. You will be changing the subject and the verb. He asked me what I was doing. So here said has been changed into asked, mainly to show that a question was asked in the direct speech. Then the what, the word what with which the question was beginning has now been used as a joining word, and then are you has been changed into I was. So here I is the subject and was is the verb. So when you change it into assertive form, the subject plus verb formation has been used. So you is the second person here related to the object, that is me. So the correct pronoun used is I, and then are has been used with you. But when you change it into the past tense and use it with I, you will be using the word was. The past tense of are with I will be was. So your sentence becomes, he asked me what I was doing. So children, these are all the rules related to changing questions in direct speech into indirect speech. Then the rules for the change of the pronouns and the tenses are the same that which we follow while changing assertive sentences, that is statements. The same rules are followed for changing pronouns and tenses. So revise these rules, children. Write them down. Write all these rules in your register along with the examples, and you can revise.